Okay, so here's a little look at like my thought process whenever I'm shopping for stocks, just to give you some advice on how to approach deciding whether or not to buy a stock. So the first thing I usually do is I look up list of dividend stocks and I scan through the companies, kind of get a feel for what's out there. And the first thing I noticed was this one, Realty Income Corporation. And I was curious to see what the stock was doing. So I typed in Realty Income, and you'll see that the first one that came up is right there. There were a few others that were similar, meaning that they have the same two words in their title. So I might actually look at those also, only if they pay dividends. So I'm looking here for this dividend stock, and I notice here dividend yield shows 4.41%. So currently, that's what they're paying on their dividends. It doesn't say how often they pay, so I'll probably have to do more search to see if it's monthly or quarterly or annually. A lot of the time, if it's that low of a yield, it's very likely going to be a monthly one, but I'm not sure. So I'll have to check into that further. So it looks like a lot of people are suggesting to buy, more so, nobody's suggesting to sell. So this is probably going to be a good one. So I'm actually going to buy some of these. So I have the option here to either buy the number of shares or to put in the number of dollars that I want. Now, if you're new to Robinhood, you probably won't have the choice of only investing a certain number of dollars. It's something that you get rewarded with after you've been with them for a little while. But regardless of that, right away you can start earning dividends. So don't get disheartened if you can't only buy a fractional share. If you have to buy a full one, just go for it. It's worth it. But before I decide to buy, I want to look at some of these others. So I saw this one. It's a realty income trust. So a real estate trust is basically where the investors all together are putting forward money toward investment purchases of real estate. This one does pay a dividend. It's a little bit less, 2.83. Apparently, there are no employees. Interesting. And they opened, oh, wow, back in the 80s. So this person has been in operation for a long time. So I want to see, oh, looks like in the last 5 years, there's been a steady increase. This person is based out of Pennsylvania. So this might also be one I might consider buying. But I don't see any suggestions from the analysts, so I might not. I like seeing what the analysts are thinking before I make a decision. So that's basically what I do. I can go back to the list of dividend stocks here, and I can do other searches for some of these others and see, what is their dividend yield, like I showed you. Um, how have things been going with their, brand? And also kind of checking on that particular industry, like, are they doing anything that makes it seem like they'll probably continue to be profitable? Is this an industry that's likely to continue forward with advancement, or making those decisions just using your instincts and what you know about current events? So there you go. That's basically how to use the Robinhood app. I'll look up one more while we're recording. So I'm going to put in Tanger outlet. So it looks like this is how it's listed. I clicked it and now it's very cheap, decent yield. Okay. Let's see. Are the analysts talking about it? No, they're not. So before I buy this one, I'm probably going to look into more about what is Tanger doing during quarantine. It still might be a worthwhile buy because it looks like it has suffered during quarantine and it was obviously doing better prior to going into quarantine. So that's what I noticed here. Because see, right around here is when quarantine started. So they were doing pretty good. And it looks like, oh, no, it was declining. Okay, so it was declining all the way until this year and then it plummeted. So maybe not, because it was already on a downward spiral. So that's an example of one now that I'm like, no, I'm not going to buy. So just get to give you an idea of what you look for whenever you're trying to decide to buy a stock or not. I hope this was helpful. Bye.